All right, welcome back. This is the second beat of FriDate. The bill scale. This is TV47. My name is Stanley Nyeringita, and you can always talk to us on our social media platforms and right here at TV47 News KE. Now, the next guest that we'll be having is a guest that you have seen him before, the 2022 presidential candidate. He is a musician, he is a mentor, he is a political analyst. He definitely, and as a musician, let's take a look at his new song, his latest song basically, that is titled, I Am in Love. Take a look.
And everyone turns away, I'll cling to you all the rest of my life.
Wow. Good evening, Reuben Kigame.
Good evening.
But first of all, it is an honor to have you right here today.
The honor is mine. You have such a fantastic studio.
And it's amazing the fact that you haven't seen it physically, but then you feel it.
You know, there's something about what is good. You don't need to see it with your physical eyes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I know you do all the lighting and all the aesthetics, but certainly some serious work has gone into getting TV 47.
And at this point, I definitely would tell the audience Nabado, but then we'll definitely have all that later on. But then definitely welcome to FriDate. And
Thank you.
Your new book, you launched it
yesterday actually. Yeah, I do have it here actually.
Yeah, definitely. It is right here. Let me help you. There you have it.
Now, this is the Braille version. Let's have the other one.
Okay.
So this is the book, okay?
Okay.
It's called Essays. Can you read that?
Essays in African Christianity and Theology.
Yeah.
Why the title?
So, because I want to engage theology at a different level. I want it practical.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not just about talk. I want us to see the way Christianity addresses issues, but not from your pulpit, from a pulpit. I want us to go right where people are.
All right.
And deal with issues as they are, issues of reconciliation, issues of ethnicity, issues of LGBTQI, issues of politics and faith. A lot of people imagine all kinds of things, and yet the Bible has addressed all of these. So I go into decolonization and all of those different topics. And what's exciting, if you hold that, this is I launched simultaneously a Braille version of it. Can you see all those dots?
I can definitely.
Can you read? I'm going to give you this. Can you read?
I'll definitely try, Reuben. I'll try.
You read by touch, okay?
So what am I reading right now?
I don't know. Tell me, what are you reading?
You're putting me on a tough spot here, Reuben.
So this is to Antioch with Paul.
To Antioch with Paul, okay.
And I'm reading upside down.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah, and Barnabas. So this is page 466. So 466, and yet the book is just under 400 pages. So it means that Braille is more bulky. It comes in 6 volumes. So
I've seen the other version is about 380 pages.
Now this is volume 4 of 6.
Okay.
It says here Essays in African Christianity and Theology, volume 4. And then my name down here. Yeah.
Let me ask you, what's your philosophy about religion, basically?
Well, religion is man-made. It's man seeking God. Christianity is God seeking man. Jesus came.
That's quite deep.
No, it's as simple as that. You see, religion, you make it up. You have all these kinds of do's and don'ts and taboos, and so you eat this or don't eat that, go there or don't go there. That's religion.
Okay.
Worship in a large group, worship in a small group, whatever. But Christianity is about relationship with God through Christ. And that is a big, big difference. So you can have as many religions as there are human beings, because everybody seems to look at things differently and explain them differently.
Right.
But in Christ, God has come to our level. He walked among us. The Word became flesh and dwelt among us. So God is interested in man knowing Him, men and women knowing Him. And so He reveals that through Christ.
Let me ask you this. You're a public figure, Reuben, and definitely your opinion is a valid opinion. It is an opinion that people out there who follow you, people who listen to you, will definitely take it seriously. Today, religious leaders, different religious leaders met with the Senate ad hoc committee probing the Shakahola deaths, and the center's talks that were there were regulating churches and regulating basically the churches. What is your opinion on that?
Very simple. The Bible tells us in the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 6 that we will judge angels as Christians. Okay. So I'm talking as a Christian.
Yeah.
And Paul challenges the Christians, asking, if you will judge angels, how come you cannot judge simple things? So the Shakahola issue is just like a culmination of so many different things going wrong in the church, and the church being unable to regulate. The best thing would be for the church to regulate itself, okay? So that you come with the Catholic Conference of Bishops, the Evangelical Alliance of Kenya, NCCK, come together and form like a Kenya religious regulatory authority that checks who is registering a church or an organization or a ministry, what are their credentials, what are they going to be doing with that registration, if it's media, what are they going to be airing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then recommend, you can reach the public or not. If someone starts out and begins to show, for example, indecent behavior. Someone in the name of God begins to touch women indecently, and it's obvious, it's on screen. Or you begin to throw people down, or you stop people from taking their children to school for months. Surely, if nobody realizes that something is wrong, Stanley, there is a problem with self-regulation there. But on the flip side, if the church will not regulate itself, then it's incumbent upon government to regulate, because we have to protect the lives of Kenyans.
Right.
Yeah.
But then, do you think there is a goodwill for the whole self-regulation? And even as you answer that, does a bishop or even a religious leader really need a degree to a certain point, maybe a degree or a PhD to have, be in that particular title?
Let's not demand of Christians and Muslims what we are not demanding of other groups. Because there is a sense in which if you want to be a good farmer, you need experience, isn't it? You could go to school and study farming, but nothing stops you from farming without a degree. Leadership, like politicians, there are some leaders that are actually wiser than a lot of schooled politicians. So I would say you need some education, especially Bible training and so on. But you don't have to have all these degrees in order to be a Christian minister.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think it's unfair.
So,
you need a diploma or something. You don't have to have a PhD in theology or a master's in theology. Certainly, training is important. Now,
okay.
let me give you an example. A lot of you imagine that I'm a pastor. I'm actually not a pastor. With all my training, with all my education in Christianity and religions and so on, I am not. But I can teach. I do teach pastors. I do teach graduate courses in Christianity, church history and stuff like that.
Have you ever thought about being a pastor or maybe a bishop?
My calling is not pastoral.
Okay.
My calling is evangelistic. I go where those who need to hear the gospel are. I take the light where there is the greatest darkness. Actually, that's why I'm in politics. Because I want, they say politics is a dirty place. It's very dirty. And everybody agrees it's dirty. Now, if it's dirty, that's where I want to be. Why shine the light where there is already light? I usually go to atheists, those who say there is no God. I go to witches.
Right.
I go to those who do not understand. There are those who say, Jesus did not exist. I try to help them to see that he did exist. And I use facts, and I use scripture, and I use common sense. So the point is, my calling is evangelistic. Okay. So I have only two things in terms of Christian mission. One is to worship. That's why I write a lot of worship songs. And two is to teach. And you teach. As an evangelist, you teach the faith.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm taking a look at even chapter 4 of this book, the role of electronic media.
Oh, wow. You already went into the book. Congratulations.
African Christian. It is quite an interesting, even looking at it. And I feel like even the rest of the world should actually dive into this. But then...
that's kind of you. Thank you.
We have maybe about 4 minutes or so.
Yeah. Have you looked at chapter 12?
I promise to do so.
Yeah. But then I talk about church, racism, ethnicity. I talk about LGBTQI, all these issues. I talk about faith and politics. Yeah, I also talk about, early African Christianity. You know, Akina Ngugi wa Thiong'o have been telling us that Christianity is a Western religion. It's not. It was not. There was Christianity in Libya, in Sudan, in Egypt, in Ethiopia, in Congo, very early, before the missionaries came.
Do you have a song that is, as you're writing this book, a song that touches on any of this? And could you play it for us?
Well, I've been writing songs all my life about different things. Which one do you want to hear? About, let me, here's one that is called, I belong to another country. I belong to another place where the saints shall live in glory and shall sing what amazing grace. And down on River Road lies Onyango, 'cause he drunk himself to death. And in some lecture room, a professor sweats to prove that God is dead. And in some country school, a girl abodes to clear her sin away. And somewhere in the pulpit, a pastor preaches money and deacons fight for power. Then I know that I belong to a better place. You believe it now?
Wow.
So I've been writing from, the 80s and the 90s. And, I have a dream for Kenya. I have a dream.
And because of time, I'll let you...
the nation of the Lord. So you have all that. And I have, I guess I need no eyes to see the chaos that fill our world today. Just so much.
Right. Out of all these chapters, which is your favorite? As we wrap up this conversation, which is your favorite and why?
I have 2 or 3 favorite ones. Chapter 1, certainly, and I've spent a lot of pages on it. It's on decolonizing African Christianity. And then chapter 7 is about reconciling, conservative and liberal theology using a branch of philosophy called nutrosophy. And then I have passion about chapter 13, which is about the nexus of faith and politics. And I'm looking especially at the just concluded elections.
Right.
Yes.
How are the elections, according to you, and looking at right now, the big conversation that we're having, the finance bill 2023, and I've watched you, stand up and, say that we are here to talk the truth for the people.
Yeah.
What's your honest opinion about what, so far, all these months, about 8 months so far into this new government?
It's simple. They're doing government wrong. They're having government the wrong way. There's a right way to do government, there's a wrong way to do government, and they're doing the second one. They're doing it wrong.
Are we having the wrong leaders or the wrong systems?
A bit of both. Because you see, wrong leaders will have a wrong system. A wrong system will attract wrong leaders.
Right.
So you need to fix both.
Okay.
Yes.
You're the 2022 presidential candidate.
Aspirant.
They
didn't let me become a candidate, they blocked me.
Okay.
Yes.
If you're right now the president, what will you have done differently at this time? Keeping in mind whatever is happening, the global inflation, the high inflation in the country, all factors constant.
Inflation is the tip of the iceberg. It's what leads to inflation.
Okay.
That is our problem. Now, if I was to do government the Kigame way, the first thing I would do is appoint professionals, skilled people in the different ministries and departments of government, and people without a record of crime, corruption, and mismanagement. That's number 1. Number 2, I would solve the economic problem by 3 things. 1, I would budget within our means. I would not have any unnecessary, expensive projects. Some projects must wait.
Okay.
We would have to feed people. We would have to ensure that they can go to school, they have health services, just the basics.
All right.
That's where the money would go. Lower the cost of living so that people are able to afford. The second thing I would do is stop economic hemorrhage. We are losing a lot. Even our previous president told us, 2 billion per day. That's about 700 billion per year. We're losing that much, and yet we want to tax Kenyans. So let's stop the bleeding first. 2, I would work on bringing back a lot of money that is stored in offshore accounts. A lot, just a few people have a lot of money. You saw the Pandora Papers, a lot, nearly $1 trillion out there. So that's 1.7 trillion right there lost. And then I would also ensure that we have a lean government, a small-sized government, 18 to 20 ministries, no extra CSs. Kenya is a small country, and then I would stop the foreign trips for a while. Right. We can do virtual meetings. You don't have to go to Naivasha or Mombasa for meetings. It's common sense. You need the will to do it the way we do it in the family. If you're earning 20,000 shillings and you can't feed your family, you don't go buying a car. Mm-hmm. You don't go buying a TV, a 54-inch TV.
Okay.
No. You feed your family first. When every one of them is happy, fed, and they're able to go to school and work, now you can buy the TV.
All right. I want to bring a particular conversation, and I know it is close to your heart.
Okay.
Music. And just to quote you, I challenge the CMOs to get serious about paying musicians and content creators or immediately close operations.
Yes.
I challenge the president to be serious about paying musicians the same way he is serious about farmers and other projects, or at least ensure I am paid for the use of the quote-unquote Huniachi song and other songs that are utilized in political campaigns and national celebrations. And that this particular quote continues. It is quite a lengthy one. What's your whole take about paying of musicians?
There's no rocket science about it. Just pay them. Just pay them. When you collect, pay.
Is it a problem about framework of maybe laws that we went from there?
Stanley, it's everything. Everyone is trying to get a cent. You collect 100 million, and then you spent 70 million on administration and pay musicians 30 million.
Okay.
What is that? It's usually the other way around. That you use my song, so the songs of the artists, you use them either for campaign, use them on radio or whatever, you don't pay, and you imagine that the artists will just continue producing. And so my point was, even if they don't pay me, can we deal with what we are doing to our young musicians? When they see that Kigame is earning 1,295, let's say.
Okay.
That is what music pays. What do you think we are doing to a young man trying to produce music in Nyeri or Likoni or Kisumu? What do you think you're doing? And then, somebody says, okay, Kigame, we have paid more. Yes, you've paid more before. What is the most I've been paid recently by MCSK? Just close to 10,000.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to say is, when we give the mentality to our young people that music does not pay, they'll stop creating. And it's not just in music.
Right.
If you produce your film as a film producer, or as a dancer, or as an actor, and people utilize your content and so on, and then you go home walking.
Pay Caesar what belongs to Caesar.
It is absolutely evil. Because money is collected. These guys they harass the shopkeepers, they harass the bars, they harass, all guys collecting money. And then they take it where? Musicians are dying like paupers. We have buried so many. WhatsApp groups collect money to buy a coffin. Why?
Allow me to take your last words, your parting shots, generally about the state of the nation right now.
Yeah.
And then after that, I'll sign out. And then this is a song that I've heard it more than 10 times, Sweet Bunyore. I definitely request...
Why can't we do Sweet Kiambu?
Or whichever. After I sign out, you can wrap up. But then first, your last words, sir.
My last word is to Kenyans, we deserve better.
Okay.
And it's not like we lack the right people, but we don't put the right people into office. We do everything to have exploiters and thugs and all kinds of people who don't even listen to Mwananchi. And so I want to challenge us. The next time we have an election or something like that, let's really put the right people into office.
Okay.
But lastly, let us truly fear God. We play games with God.
All right.
Whether we are Christians or not, let's at least fear God. Because this breath can be taken away anytime. Anytime.
Thank you.
And let's not also play with citizens.
Allow me to wrap up there.
Sure.
I'm really being rushed right here because of time. Rhoda Nyama is on the sign language interpretation, super producer Lydia on the cameras, Christine Kulu, sound, and director Emmanuel Inonda, graphics Jen. And before we wrap up, Sweet Bunyore, courtesy of Reuben Kigame. Take it away, sir.
Life has been cruel to me, and I have longed for a shoulder to lean on. I have nursed much insomnia. There's been nothing worth keeping for a dream. I have seen the coldness of the city boys and the lies of the city girls. Oh, the pain of street children. Perhaps it's time to go right to the